I have spent $15,000 on my new leg sleeve tattoo and just recently completed it. Yes, that is a lot of money, a lot of hours under the needle, and it was extremely painful. But I've realized that I have not done a video where I completely give you a tour and reveal the whole thing as a complete leg sleeve. So I figured in this video, I'm gonna give you a tour of the whole completed leg sleeve, let you know like why I got it, my thoughts behind everything, and much more. And if you see this and you're not subscribed to EvolveINK, what are you doing? So first, let's talk about why I even got this leg sleeve and what it even is based on. Well, if you haven't noticed, I love tattoos. I have both my arms done and my chest done. And I'm a really big Harry Potter fan, like an extremely big Harry Potter fan. And I kept seeing tattoos about Harry Potter. And I was like, you know what? I love leg sleeves. I think that they're awesome. Let's get a Harry Potter leg sleeve. And after I decided that I wanted to get the leg sleeve, I then needed to figure out what type of style do I want. Well, my tattoo taste has changed drastically over time. I still love all the tattoos I have, but I've been, for the past like 2 years, a really big fan of like those high contrast sleeves. So I knew for right off the bat, for this Harry Potter leg sleeve, I wanted the dark. And I also wanted to incorporate some color in it because I do love, you know, color tattoos as well as, I mean, there's beautiful colors in Harry Potter. So those two things were a must. Let's just get into the actual leg sleeve. We're gonna start from the top down and we'll go piece by piece. And we'll start with the first piece that I got on the leg sleeve, which I feel is the focal point of the sleeve, which is the Dumbledore piece. And this piece is insane, arguably one of my favorites. I knew I wanted to have a bunch of portraits of my favorite characters on my leg, while at the same time not just having a bunch of faces all over the leg. So we started off with this Dumbledore portrait, and we got some reference pictures to figure out what was going to look best on the leg and as like a tattoo. And we came up with this piece right here. It came out awesome. I love the emphasis and all the different shadows on his face. The shadows in the glasses look friggin' insane. Of course, I love those nice blue eyes. It really makes the tattoo pop even more. Now, the Dumbledore portrait as a whole took around 14 hours to complete. 12 hours for the first session, where we completed pretty much the whole thing. But then after we healed up and went back for a touch-up session, we also added some more blacks into the hat, as well as adding more shadows into the face. Now, right underneath Dumbledore's portrait, you could see there's some Dementors there, which then go into kind of like my upper knee area, where we have Hogwarts Castle surrounded by different Dementors. I saw a bunch of different tattoos that had this type of thing around a Harry Potter type of tattoo, and I thought it looked sick, and Matt also agreed. He said that looks absolutely amazing. He added some differences with like, say like the Dementor kind of like turning around off of my knee, and some yellows in Hogwarts Castle to really just make it look like the castle is alive right on my leg. But I gotta say, this area right here on my knee, the upper knee wasn't too bad, but the knee as a whole was probably the worst tattoo pain that I've ever experienced. Now, remember how I said that this whole theme of this sleeve is high contrast? And yes, it is meant for like, you know, the whole style of tattooing that I went with for the leg sleeve. But at the same time, there's some high contrast in regards of characters too. Like, for example, I just showed you the Dumbledore portrait that I got on the center of my leg sleeve. But when we move to the outer area of my leg sleeve, my outer thigh, you'll see that I got the Dark Lord himself, Voldemort. This was, I believe, the second or third session of my leg sleeve. So my whole leg was pretty much still bare. But I remember when I first got the Voldemort piece complete, I was like mind blown on how detailed and how good this piece looked. Now, for Voldemort and a couple other characters on this leg sleeve, I really didn't have reference pictures picked out for them. I knew that I wanted to have these characters in, but I kind of gave Matt like free reign on what type of reference pictures to pick from. And when I saw this one, it incorporated like everything that I would want in a Voldemort tattoo. Now, I believe the whole Voldemort area total took about 12 hours. I remember it was like 10 hours for like the whole first session, which we pretty much got completed. But then we went over it and then, you know, added some more greens to really make them more punchy, and added some other darker areas to really just give it that more high contrast look after it healed up. Moving on to the inner thigh, and this was an area that I was actually scared to get tattooed, and if you go watch the tattoo vlog, you could see that I was actually terrified, because the inner thigh, it doesn't sound like a fun area to get done. But anyway, is Severus Snape. I got this area. Snape is probably my favorite character in all of Harry Potter, so he was definitely going on my leg sleeve somewhere. I'll admit, when I went to go get my inner thigh done after the tattoo session was complete, the inner thigh is just such a sensitive area, and I figured that, like, okay, yes, it's going to be red, but I didn't think it was going to be as red as it was, as well as how dark it was. And I thought that it was going to look a little bit too dark for the whole leg sleeve, but Matt was like, don't worry, once it heals, it's going to lighten up a little bit, which I already knew, but I don't know, I was just a little worried about it. And once it healed up, I was so happy on the way it looked. The green eyes on Snape, again, I love all the colorful eyes and all the people in my leg sleeve, but the hair, I'm really glad that he incorporated the wand in this design as well, and it just connects so well to each of the other pieces on my leg on the inner thigh, and it goes down and connects to almost that Hogwarts area that is on my knee itself. Moving on to the back of the thigh is my newest addition to the leg sleeve. It was my last session, and it was this newspaper of Sirius Black. This is one of the sections that we were talking about where, like, I didn't want to have just faces all over my leg. We wanted to break it up a little bit, so Matt was like, well, why don't we do the newspaper that was super famous from the Harry Potter movies? And I was like, dude, that looks awesome. That would look awesome as a tattoo. It breaks up the faces and it's different. The way he made, like, the newspaper look like it was almost like burnt and like peeling off of my skin gives it just such a cool three-dimensional look, as well as, like, if you look at it on my leg sleeve, I don't know if you could see it right here, but it caps off the end of that leg sleeve so well. Everybody says that this is, like, arguably one of the coolest parts of the leg sleeve. But now it's time to move down. Once you move down to the leg sleeve, right below the Sirius Black newspaper thing is Dobby, and this was a tattoo that I was not actually going to get at first. I actually had Bellatrix Lestrange there, for you guys that might know Harry Potter, on the knee ditch, but I remember watching Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1, and, you know, for you guys that might not know, Dobby plays a big role in that movie, and I switched. And oh boy, was I so glad that I chose Dobby. Not only was the design that we got where he's like snapping his fingers fit so perfectly in that area, but it just looks friggin' so awesome. Like, people, when I'm walking down the street, they'll see it and they'll, like, instantly notice Dobby because he's such a recognizable character, and Matt killed it. The, you know, the little scars and the little details all over Dobby's face and his arms. The spark that he did when he's snapping his fingers looks so realistic, and I'm so happy with that. In my opinion, my favorite part of this part of the sleeve is his eyes. And again, this is one of my favorite parts of the leg sleeve that I could hardly ever see because it's on the back of my leg sleeve. So now we'll move down to the bottom of the leg sleeve, and on the bottom, on the outer calf, I have Ron and Hermione. Now this area right here, I feel like, is the real eye catcher of my leg sleeve, because this part of my leg sleeve is the area that is always exposed, like when I'm wearing shorts and stuff like that. People, when I'm walking, I'm always seeing their eyes like look at my legs. And at first I was a little concerned. I'm like, why are people looking at my legs? And I'm like, oh yeah, I have a leg sleeve now. You can't argue with them. Look how detailed this piece looks. The way Matt was able to get, like, the bone structure done, like the facial structure, the bone structure to Ron is, like, I keep saying it's insane, but I truly think that it's insane. Like, the way that the tattoo looks, it just looks three-dimensional. And then moving down, you got Hermione capping off the very bottom of this leg sleeve right here. The other thing that I really do like that he incorporated into it to add some color to the bottom of the leg sleeve on this side is the locket from the movies. Now, for you guys that might not know, it is one of the Horcrux. Ron had the Horcrux for a little bit, and it's yellow and it's beautiful. So this was actually Matt's idea to incorporate this in the leg sleeve, which flows into the next area of the sleeve. Now, of course, we're gonna have Harry Potter himself on a Harry Potter leg sleeve. This area right here, it looks very cool. I think we have like a perfect like combination of really deep blues and pops of color, and then like really high contrast to really just make this whole part of the leg sleeve stand out. But oh my God, was it painful. When Matt was packing in the blues to really make the like Patronus and everything like really like stand out and pop. Oh my God, I was seeing stars the whole time. Which, speaking of the Patronus, I actually didn't even think about having that in the leg sleeve. I know I wanted Harry Potter in there, but again, this was Matt's idea to have the Patronus in there. And when I saw that, I was like, that is such a really cool idea. Now, one area that we did not know what to do with was the very back of my calf. We decided that, wow, there's a lot of space back there. We need to put something there. So during one of the tattoo sessions, we were doing another piece. I think we were doing like the Dobby piece. Matt actually ended up freehand drawing a whole like Hagrid and Owl portrait of like Hedwig and Hagrid. It was actually insane. He just like freehanded it with some markers just to kind of eye up how much space we had there. And then the idea was born. We ended up doing a full-blown Hagrid portrait with Hedwig. Hagrid was definitely one of those characters that I wanted to incorporate in the leg sleeve, but I personally thought that I already picked too many and I wouldn't have enough room for it. But I was wrong. Matt ended up freehanding it, like I said, and he was like, dude, I think that it would look awesome on the back of your calf, just like Hagrid's face. And like, you know, then have it like cut off with like Hedwig the owl and really incorporate another like magical like kind of creature. I know owls aren't magical, but when I think of Hedwig, I think he's magical. And again, this sleeve is super dark, but I really do love how we have that contrast with Hedwig being like that nice white owl. We have the golden eyes, which really look cool. But when I tell you, this leg sleeve means so much to me and I'm so happy about it. I'm just blown away that I get to wear this thing, have this thing on my leg every single day. We do have some big plans for it. I am going to be going into some competitions with this leg sleeve, which I'll be making full-blown videos about me going into the competition, so be sure to subscribe. And I just wanted to take a second to say thank you to everybody that has been with me through this whole leg sleeve journey. I mean, without you guys just being there and supporting me, I wouldn't have not been able to get this leg sleeve done, and especially as fast as I did. We got it fully done in 4 months. Now, if you have not watched the tattoo vlogs of me completing my whole leg sleeve, you should go watch them because they're friggin' awesome. Go check it out right here and let me know what you think. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.